Yes, I call you.
Of the 3 states that are offsetting elections. With INEC as an institution that is a product of the law, the Electoral Act was very clear on quite a number of issues, including returning officers, where malpractices have been detected. I'm disappointed because around 12 o'clock today I learned that the certificate of return have been given to Ododo. But let me tell the whole world that we have written a comprehensive petition to INEC seeking for the review of the election in 3 local governments in particular, where the sensitive result was released or leaked and filtered up and taken to the polling unit before the election. INEC as an institution acknowledged this breach. On the 11th, INEC releases its own press release acknowledging these breaches. On the 12th, they did the same and promised to look into it. And they are aware that in the entire central of Kogi State, the result sheet was compromised by their own officers. The INEC chairman said clearly that they have specifics in terms of numbers of individuals that were giving materials for this election, their names, their details, and their locations. They are going to investigate them. The 3 what is rational to any, even a rational human being, is the fact that you considered as an institution something went wrong. You told the whole world you are going to look into it. But you did it selectively. You pick few polling units and decide to cancel them. And you allow the large chunk of the areas where this dubious behavior took place. I really don't know if we are practicing democracy or we are practicing allotocracy. Because what happened is allocations of votes, and they could not reconcile those votes in their IRF. It is there for everybody to see, including the international community. I don't think there was any election that have called to question the integrity of INEC in recent history than the one that took place in Kogi. Because the law says that once the result sheet is compromised, the election in that polling unit should be cancelled. The law also says that if the result sheet had been mutilated, the election in that council, in that polling unit, should be cancelled. Those are the laws, and they are very clear. Of what interest, we don't know. We have also mentioned here clearly, we have told the president this will be the first test run for the president's integrity. This is the first one. I don't know if we are moving into a one-state system. We are following some of the developments. We are also following some of the judicial pronouncements in this same country that we fought for democracy. In this same country in 1999, some of the best politicians were arrested and sent to prison for the restoration of democracy. From 1999 to date, this our democracy have produced more than grandchildren. So we are not learning. What we are doing is perpetuation of crime and criminality. Allowing people that have been elected into a position to become an emperors. Nobody can question them. Nobody have the audacity. Those that ought to have, react to it are feeling, or they're developing fear. The government will go after them. The government will hunt them. We are not that. We are not cowards. We exhibited that capacity and we will never be cowards. This country belongs to all of us. And the president has said several times that the ball stops at his own text. The ball is still at his own text. The National Security Advisor make very sound pronouncements. That boosts our morale, boosts our confidence. Cheating, any act of malpractices will not be condoned. His own personnel will be there monitoring the events. I just read a while ago General Abdul Salam Abubakar remark saying that the 3 elections were not, good enough in terms of what was recorded, vote buying, violence, and so on and so forth. This is what our democracy is facing. We mention it to those that, wish to listen or have listening ears. Nigeria is the biggest democracy in Africa. We're on a very fragile stage. Most of you could remember Shagari regime. What truncated that regime? Akin Owaborowe case that was annulled of Ondo states. We are having worse than that going on right now, where impunity is the order of the day, where INEC admitted their officers have compromised. They did not arrest those officers. They have their auditors. They deploy them. The good thing about it, we have not seen security agencies compromising, especially in Kogi states. We had in Imo and Kogi, there was such, but in Kogi we have not seen security agencies compromising. But not the empire. As INEC that we thought, their limitation is security agencies because security are in charge of creating conducive environment for them to deploy their election materials. Security agencies have done their job very well in Kogi states. But then what happened? The institution that we trusted and we thought they would redeem their image, they would do something new. Rather, we had the worst outing. And it is same INEC that went out and said that something wrong is going on in Kogi State. Same INEC. Same INEC releases press release twice, on the 11th and on the 12th. I still want to say that we in SDP, we disagree, we are sad, we are disappointed at this level of civilization, this level of developing our democracy, that such level of cruelty, openly, brazen disregard to the rule of law is still being accepted. Because those disputed local government ought not to have been accepted. They would have kept them aside because they are disputed, which INEC mentioned them in their press list. They mentioned them one after the other. The disputed local government. Adavi, Okehi, Okene, Magoro, and they mentioned it in their own press release. It wasn't SDP document. It was INEC document. So it's very disappointing, very, very embarrassing, and it's demoralizing, especially for some of us that have been so active in the fight to restore democracy in Nigeria. It's very disappointing. When the young people are saying that when we will have our chance, I really don't know how to answer it, because large chunk of my age have been fighting for democracy, restoration of democracy. But the system on daily basis keep on going down. And those in the position of authority that ought to have questions, draw the attention of INEC, because INEC is not independent. I keep on saying this. INEC chairman confirms it when he had meeting with the service chiefs. He said that he is not in charge of security. He's not in charge of deployment of security. He's not in charge of infrastructure. He's not in charge of fuel stations. He depends on these organs to do their job before he does his own job. Once these other ones are compromised, there is nothing INEC can do. Yes, we will hit Professor Mahmood. He takes responsibility ahead of INEC. But I thought for him to save himself and save his neck, he needs to come out boldly and speak the truth. He must admit to Nigeria, I'm incapacitated. I'm not capable of driving this place. How could institution of INEC, the executive will be appointing national commissioners, resident electoral commissioners that have interest? One of them that we accused was appointed by the same executive that compromises this election. How could a government that wants to strengthen democracy should participate in determining actors that will conduct election? And we think we are serious, we are normal, and we think things are going well. Our economy is on its knees. The security is on its knees. No investors are coming in. And we are still creating a chaotic environment. We tell lies. Government tell lies, deceive people. This is sad, particularly for our generation, because we have no excuse. Most of us here, almost all of us, have traveled out. We have seen how systems have been organized. And then we envy to have it down here. And the leaders that ought to have provided that environment are the one compromising the environment. We are heading towards a one-party system in Nigeria. Whether it will last, I don't know. But the nation is falling. Once it is being punched, only God knows what will happen. You cannot suffocate system, suffocate a country with hunger, with lack of security. People have nowhere to turn to. The fuel is keep on increasing. In fact, there's no fuel even now. They mentioned before that one subsidy is removed, there will be fuel everywhere. Every day they are increasing the cost of oil. You allow the cost of oil to be determined by petroleum marketed forces. There's no country on earth that allows such kind of things to happen. No country that I know. And there's no country on earth that do not apply subsidy in one thing or the other. There is no country on earth. The same subsidy they are removing, they are giving the subsidy back to the governors that have weaponized poverty. And you expect growth from where? How? What miracle? Will it fall from heaven? It cannot fall from heaven. Do we have a shortfall of individuals that have the capacity? The answer is no. Nigeria has surplus of people that have the capacity to drive the system. Where are they? Where are they? So, like I said, this is the first press release by INEC. And the copies are here. And then the petition we wrote have encapsulated everything. But because INEC have no capacity to respond, they ignore it. They did not even reply, or no courtesy of even replying our petition. That is the kind of lawlessness that we are talking about. That is the kind of lawlessness we are talking about. No matter what, we are major stakeholders. INEC should have responded to us in whatever way they feel necessary. But not to ignore us as if we are nothing. That is not a civilized way to do things. We will not leave it, we will challenge it. We are getting all our facts together because we are equal shareholders in Nigeria. Nobody have more shares in Nigeria than any one of us that is seated here. And the moment we agree not to work together to salvage this country, we will continue to suffer collectively. The moment we keep on silent on issues that is taking this country down, we will all be victims. We will no longer walk on the street very soon. Like I've mentioned, paragraph 3, the commission is determined not to reward bad behavior. Consequently, the election in the 9 wards in Ogoni Magongo local government, Eni, Okibo, Okeshi, Iletoju, Airomi, Ogugu, Abinoin, Obatu, about all of them is at the moment suspended. This is on the 11th from INEC, suspended. Now, if you go further, you will see there the incidences in the other local government areas being thoroughly investigated, and the outcome, including the way forward, will be announced in the next 24 hours. Meanwhile, as the process continues, we followed the audit trial of the personnel and the material, ascertain those who may have been complicit in undermining the process. We have a record of all officials deployed at various levels as supervisors, monitors, technical staffs, or polling unit officials, and all elections materials issued on them. Appropriate sanctions will be applied where necessary. This is on that same day of election, on the 11th of November, from INEC. You can see the update from INEC on the 12th of November. Let me just go to the areas. Look at here. They have expanded the polling units cancellations. They have expanded it themselves. Again, they are speaking the same language. We will pursue, we will sanction, we will detect, we will arrest. The polling unit they have cancelled in the first one on the 11th, on the 12th are more polling units they have cancelled. But what we told them is that the entire central local government have been compromised because the resources are in the hands of people that is not supposed to be. Now, immediately the returning officer decided to exercise his power outside the law that authorized him and the returning officer from every ward to do justice because the results were mutilated. They were unable to do it either as an act of manipulation or directive being given to them. But the law is very clear. The law is very clear. Now, the returning officer decided to use his own discretion to go ahead and collect the result of those disputed local government areas and include them in the results she have collected. And thereafter decided to declare the results by the vote they have allocated. It beats anybody's wisdom that in Kogi, there's somebody is tampering with the light. At your back. Oh, okay. In Kogi, we won the entire 9 local governments. The entire 9 local government, we won those local governments. Our candidate was leading. And we generated the number of votes that have been manufactured. Is in public space. We also gave it to INEC. Before the election, we submitted the INEC the multiple of registrations in the North Central. We submitted it to INEC. Multiple of registrations. They promised to purge the registers. These multiple registrations are the ones that they transferred into votes, even though there were no votes in most of the polling units. There was no accreditation. I wonder how they got the result sheet from. So, we are not anarchists, we are law abiding. We decided officially to write to INEC And our letter are very, very precise, very easy to comprehend, and very easy to reply. This letter was submitted on the 14th of November to the office of the chairman of INEC. Petition in respect of the election result for Kogi governorship race of 11 November 2023. May we use this opportunity to appreciate the chairman and the Independent National Electoral Commission for the effort to conduct the last off-season election in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states. In spite of the good intention of the commission, we have noticed that some of the functionaries of the commission or those engaged to work on behalf of the commission have not performed to standard. This is why we wish to bring some unsatisfactory aspect of the handling of the election in Kogi states to the attention of the chairman. 3. The attention of the chairman is hereby drawn to the fact that the returning officer for the state, Professor Johnson Urama, announces the result at the INEC State Collection Center in Lokoja on the 12th of November 2020 and declared that A. All Progressive Congress APC polled 446,223. B. The Social Democratic Party SDP polled 259 and 52 votes. 3. The People's Democratic Party, the PDP, polled 46,362. 4. The African Democratic Party, ADP, polled 21,819 votes. 4. We respectfully wish to petition the Commission that the declaration by the returning officer is flawed because it was made contrary to the provision of the law, regulations, and guidelines and manuals for the election. 5. We wish to report that it will appear that the actions and or inactions of the Professor Sani Adams, that is the INEC National Commissioner, Commissioner in Kogi State, indeed compromises the electoral process, substantially leading to irregularities and grossly perverted election outcome. For instance, our polling unit agent and INEC accredited Yaga observer reported that pre-filled and signed from EC8A meant for Kogi central election were found while results were being collected. An INEC and ad hoc staff, a serving NYSC member, was caught with already prepared result sheet and 1 million naira cash on the election day. 6. We note that the Commission appear to be aware of the improper actions of the members leading to irregularities and unlawful voting and or stroke activities at the polling unit and have subsequently acted abelt in an incomplete and inadequate manner by substantially affected the outcome of the election, and that for such irregularities, an outcome would have produced a winner other than Mr. Mohammed Usman Ododo of the APC, and that Alhaji Murtala Yakubu Ajaka, candidate of the SDP, would have and should have been declared the winner based on the figures and facts we have mentioned. And therefore, our prayers are as follows. A. Cancel the polling units affected by overvoting. B. Reverse the observed irregularities. C. Resigned on the result declared by the returning officer. D. Declared proper and valid results. E. Resent on erroneous or lawful return of Ahmed Usman Ododo. F. Declare Murtala Yakubu Ajaka as duly elected governor of Kogi State. In view of the above, we humbly request that the Independent National Electoral Commission to exercise its right and obligation under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Electoral Act 2022 to review the earlier incorrect declaration and cancel the results where there had been irregularities and processes contrary to the provision of the law, regulations, guidelines, and manual. Please, finally, accept the assurance of our cooperation, our respect, and best wishes. This is what we sent to INEC. It was comprehensive, it was facts. We gave it to INEC. INEC did not find it necessary to reply. Apart from that, we have collected so much from INEC arrived. We also have the backup results. They cannot reconcile the figures. They were attempts to tamper with the record in the IRF. They discovered that majority of Nigerians have access to it. Eventually they abandoned it. The records are there. So I feel ashamed. I feel terribly ashamed. I feel shocked that in the modern society that we live, in the globalized world, where from your bedroom you can have access live what is happening anywhere in the world through your phone, INEC have not come to terms that technology of today, the telephone we have today is the greatest weapon the world have produced. It can record everything, it can scan everything, and our judicial institutions have acknowledged that still and video documents can be tendered as exhibits. And yet, people that we have trusted, Nigeria resources are being budgeted for INEC to conduct election. Resources are being abused. Allowances being given to officers being abused. People will conspire to undermine their own country, undermine their own democracy. The inflation rate is close to impossible. We can't go to market. Almost 60% by statistics, car owners have dropped their cars at home because they cannot afford to fuel their cars. We are looking for peace desperately. No state actors are pulling the states down. And then you are still compounding the problem of the country through a process that ought to be transparent, electoral process, where the Constitution has protected every citizen to exercise his franchise. That franchise is being abused, being hijacked, being stolen away. And then the arrogance of saying that we should go to court. The challenge is in the judiciary. Those who are saying that we should go to court, they believe they will have their way in the court. But we believe that they can have their way to court, but they cannot have their way to court. We believe so. I could remember when the left governor of Kano State, Alhaji Abubakar Rimi, was indicted by the court. He told the judge, yes, you presided over, you have adjudicated, but what the judgment of God? The judgment of God is coming. Our judicial officers are Nigerians. The judiciary is the longest arm of the government. We hope the judiciary will understand the decay that is going on. We hope the judiciary will strengthen Nigeria, will strengthen our democracy, will strengthen fairness, justice, and equity. Otherwise, we are gone. I don't know who will rescue the system. Because executive is an interested party. Legislatures are interested party. It is only the judiciary that is being defined as the fallback of a common man. And then if people can steal and with sagacity, with audacity and recklessness, and say we have done it, go to court, it means that we have no respect for our courts. We have no respect for our judges. Then I don't know what will happen. But the good thing is that we are voicing out, we are being recorded. It's left for those who are supposed to prosecute, led by example, people in the executive, to take action and restore Nigeria to normalcy, restore decency, restore credibility, restore trust. There's a deficit of trust in Nigeria. It's massive. The gap is massive. So this is our stance. We have to share it with you. We're not afraid of it. We'll go to court. We'll challenge it. All of you that have followed our candidate and his deputy, they have displayed bravery, uncommon bravery, by challenging someone who describes himself as a white lion. They have challenged him to stand still. He was able to establish a conducive environment for other parties to campaign. He has been wanted. He have not surrendered. The party have not surrendered. And would never surrendered. We are part of those that restored democracy. Our leaders were sent to prison. Where are they today? Those who fought for the restoration of this democracy. For God's sake, let us tell ourselves the bitter truth if we want to fix this country. Otherwise, I'm sorry, I cannot tell you how long this democracy can last. Nobody can tell you that. Because hunger is enough to cripple everywhere. Go on the road, you see it as if Nigeria is in a kind of an anarchy state. People cannot move around. For what reason? So, this is the point. I'm sure the candidate want to say something, and most likely the deputy and yes, AIT. Well, it's part of what I was going to say when you interjected. But before you approach court, you have to get your act together. Following from the presidential judgment from the Court of Appeal to Supreme Court, that judgment was targeted at parties and candidates. And it's simply because they want parties to put their house together, make sure they have records that was transmitted or that took place at every polling unit as an exhibit, a certified copy that they can tender. That is number one. Number two, we have also officially applied to INEC for CTC copies of all that have transpired. I understand the beavers are still in the local governments in Kogi State, have not even brought to the state headquarters in Kogi State as of yesterday. I don't know the reason. So, but we have applied for all the CTCs. We have applied multiple of CTCs from INEC. They are all here. Our senior advocates have applied. We have so many lawyers that have volunteered freely to be part of the legal team. But the lead counsel have applied in line with Section 4 of the Federal Freedom of Information Act 2021. We hereby apply for the issuance of the below listed documents. So they are all 1, 2, 3. That is in the first request. In the second one, we request also from items 1 to item 42, as it relates to Kogi election. We have applied officially to INEC, and we have reached out to INEC. We need them urgently. We don't want to be part of the politics that are happening. You will apply, you will not get justice. And that is why we are also mentioning to you that we have commenced, we have applied, we expect INEC as law-abiding institution will fast-track the process and give us the document, because those are part of things you will find in the court. And we are getting the necessary document from all the local governments so far. So, two, like you have mentioned, simply because they have declared resolved. If you follow what happened yesterday in Zamfara State, it's simple. You know, it means that impunity at the certain stage will fizzle out. We are following up what happened in Zamfara, what is happening in Plateau, what is happening in other states. And Kano, today of Kano State today, and also Nasarawa State. So you can see how dicey the situation is. You can see how dicey it is. So, but we still believe that the judicial system will be fair, will be just till the end. We still believe there are credible, decent, responsible people who believe in Nigeria among the judicial officers. Some of the pronouncements are uncalled for, but we believe there are credible people who believe in the service of the country. If you follow the valedictory sections of some of the Supreme Court judges that quitted and the Court of Appeal, you will pity this country. You really pity this country, emanating from people that have grown through the ranks up to the Supreme Court. But we are not losing hope on the judiciary. We hope the judiciary will act promptly based on these facts that have been tabulated. So it's not the end because they declare somebody a winner. We have witnessed so many times where a serving governor have been removed because of irregularities. Yes, Shafiq. Thoughts? As you mentioned, we tried it before, but again, you know, when you are taught a very large lesson, maybe the actors might start thinking otherwise, you know, because nobody have it all. Even the APC was a collection of few parties that came together and defeated PDP that have been in power for 16 years. So everything is possible. Depend on the actors to make up their mind that look, enough is enough. Let us work together. That's what exactly APC did. It's a product of 6 or 7 parties that packed themselves together, and because PDP misbehaved, then they took the opportunity. But we haven't gotten to that. When we get to that, we'll discuss that. But what we are talking about now is things that have happened on ground based on facts and the violation of the law and the guideline of INEC itself. Yes, Petrus. Government very decently, very responsibly, very maturely. We have drawn the attention of the President and Commander-in-Chief. He is in charge of all deployments. We have advised that conducive environment is needed for his own credibility to restore the dignity of INEC. Because INEC is not independent of executive, is an arm of executive, INEC. Is an arm of executive. Our appeal have worked a little bit somehow because, like in Kogi, to be precise, there was massive security deployment. That imperialism that was exhibited by the state actors was reduced. So we thought that INEC will catch into that and make sure that the election is transparent, is honest, is sincere, so the Nigeria trust can still bounce back on INEC. Look at the voters' apathy. Are we not ashamed? Is INEC not ashamed? What's the total number of registered voters in Kogi State? What's the total number of the turnout? In Imo, the same thing. In Bayelsa, the same thing. We have total number of over 90 million registered voters in Nigeria. What was the total vote that produced the president? Are we not ashamed as a people? Is the system not collapsing gradually? So we thought that, and we still believe, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will adjust his seat, will look at the issue passionately, will look at the nation passionately. Of recent, he has been making statements that I feel is a presidential statement. He has been issuing deterrence verbally. We want to see it in action. We want culprits to be punished. We want deterrence to be established. That is the only way he can sit down comfortably and take decisions as a president. Otherwise, it's close to impossible. Let me remind you, Jonathan, after swearing in, less than 1 year into his tenure, campaign started because legitimacy was lost. There was a loss of legitimacy. We don't want that to happen. People are choked up. People are suffocated. The political space is suffocated. You cannot just suffocate the entire country simply because some of your advisors are telling you nothing will happen. Heaven will not fall. We have not seen heaven falling, but we have seen countries falling. We have seen crisis enveloping and killing people because of injustice. It's still happening around the world. We don't want that to happen in Nigeria. And out of passion and commitment, we've been advising the president. We've never taken the president in a negative way. So what we expect the president is to do the right thing and nothing else. If the president said this thing will be corrected, it will be corrected. It's not an interference. Because if there's a breach of the law, It's the executive that's supposed to stand firmly and say, no, you breached the law. And it must be corrected. And they have no option than to correct it. But when the executive develop nonchalant attitude, lawlessness is going on, then we are all in trouble. That's what we are saying. So it's left for the president, but as a party, we have done the best. We have engaged them, we have discussed them, we have told them they ought to have acted in a way that they will gain our trust and our confidence.